I'm visiting Laguna Beach, California, home of Electric Cyclery. It's a pretty cool shop. They've got a bunch of different really high-end bikes, as you might expect from kind of a yuppier area. And this is one of my favorites. This is the Felt Brühaul. Got to hand it to Felt's marketing department. All their names are really fun. There's like the Lebowski and the Brühaul. I mean, I think it's just it connotates like you're hauling around your favorite stuff, right? Which might be some brewskis. And they've just done an amazing job on this. Felt has kind of a racing heritage. A lot of their bikes are really lightweight and performance driven. When you kind of switch over to the cargo side, I mean, ultimately this is like maybe a family bike. You can fit a couple of car seats on the back here, like seats if you want to. A person could even sit on this, and there's got like a handlebar attachment. There's these little mini running board mounting points here. It doesn't come with those. You can get those separately. Also kind of a skirt guard to protect in the rear wheel. But it's a pretty sweet bike as is, and it's very lightweight. 53.5 pounds for this thing. I was amazed when we weighed it, kind of lifted it from right here, and it actually tipped forward a little bit. So surprisingly, even though the back half of the bike seems longer and you've got extra support struts like this, and just, I mean, look how reinforced this is. It's still, the weight of just the battery and the handlebars and stuff kind of tips it forward. I'd say this is fairly well balanced, and I love that they used a mid-drive motor and they went with Bosch here. So there's a couple other companies offering mid-drive cargo bikes. I think it makes a lot of sense because it allows you to leverage that rear cassette. And in this case, they have 10 sprockets, Shimano Dior. So that's definitely getting up there. It's above Altus, above a Serra and a Livio. It's kind of the higher end, but it's not like a racing drivetrain. So anyway, Shimano Dior, 11 to 36 teeth. And then there's a 20 sprocket, just kind of a mini chain ring up here, and it's protected by this plastic guard. Love that they've got a guide here too, just because the chain is so long. You can see it kind of bounces around there on the underside, but at least it kind of stays away and it doesn't chip. Your chain stays, and it might stay clear of your feet and other racks that you mount. And speaking of racks, I mean, you can see there's just a ton of extra bosses here, including, look at that, for a bottle cage. I think that's what that's for, and it's awesome because maybe they didn't have room for it right here. This frame only comes in one size, and I measured from the center of the crank arms up to the top, that lip on the seat post, and it's about 17.5. Standover height, I've got length, all those other details back at the full write-up, but I think it's pretty adaptable, pretty versatile. 30.9 millimeter diameter on that seat post, 350 length, so a little bit longer. You can boost it up, and you'll notice that the stem it's a higher angle and it's shorter, and then you've got these kind of like gently swept back bars that are a little bit wider with ergonomic grips. No lockers, but still nice. They match. They've kind of got that like bright yellow, black accents happening all across the bike, but otherwise it's just gray. Kind of sleek, very nice. And double leg kickstand. This is scissoring, so it folds up just to one side when you stow it. I really like all the different, just kind of the little extras that they've put into this bike, including oversized fenders. These are they feel plastic, and that's going to be a little bit more resilient than like aluminum or steel that might get scratched or bent. These kind of bounce back, and they haven't been real noisy during my ride tests. Both of the wheels here are the same size. These are 24 inches in diameter. A lot of the cargo bikes that I've been seeing, including one from Extra Cycle, which also uses the Bosch mid-drive, they have like a smaller rear wheel, and that allows you to bring down the rack a little bit, makes it a little bit more stable, but it also makes it easier to hit these, I guess, running board mounting points on curbs and stuff. You don't get the same clearance is what I'm trying to say. And you also don't get that same comfort rolling over cracks and bumps because the wheel diameter is smaller, so it kind of goes into them instead of spanning them. So I actually really like this, and it also means it's going to be easier to find tubes, replacement tires in pairs instead of one at a time. So these are 24 by 2.35. These are Schwalbe Crazy Bobs, just extra fat, and they do have Kevlar guard, which is going to help to reduce any kind of flat tires you might get from thorns or sharp objects. Love that this has integrated lights, so it's just a tiny little thing up here, but it's I guess, and back here we've got a top light. Good to have that kind of extra safety element going on, especially if you're riding with precious cargo like kids or something. And that's all run through the main display that we'll get to in a minute off of this battery pack. So let me just hit the specs on the motor. This is Bosch Performance Line, second generation. It offers 350 watts output, 60 newton meters of torque, so very powerful, very effective, especially if you shift into the correct gear. It does have shift sensing, so it's going to help to reduce mashing and just extra wear on your chain and your derailleur and sprockets and stuff. So this is one of the nicer systems. I really like Bosch mid-drives, just the way that they're custom built into the frame like this. So they built a special mounting plate and it kind of tucks up in there. It's really clean. There is a little bit of a whee, like you hear a little bit more of a whine when you're riding it, and it only operates with pedal assist, so this is not a throttle on demand electric bike, but it's very sensitive. The way that it works is it listens for this magnet to go by that sensor and detects your wheel speed, it detects your pedal cadence and pedal torque, all three of those like 1,000 times per second. So it's like constantly listening as you pedal, and that helps it to engage and disengage very, very quickly, and also with that shift sensing I was talking about. So it's one of the most effective mid-drives that I've tested to date. I really like it. Again, 350 watts. It's a little bit misleading because it's like 350. Like there are 500 watt bikes and stuff, but they just aren't quite as smart as this one, in my opinion. Okay, so coming back up here. Oh, you know what? Before I go up to that, I should knock off the battery pack here. 36 volts, 11 amp hours for 396 watt hours. They call it the 400 watt hours. They're rounding a little bit. I love that, you know, obviously you can take this off the bike by twisting the keys here and then popping it up. It weighs like 5.5 pounds. So pretty lightweight. You could get a second one of these, and it's got that loop at the front, makes it a little bit easier to carry, and a little LED charge indicator right there so you know how full it is. But you don't have to take it off the bike to charge. You can also charge it right on the bike, which is awesome. And I should show you that battery charger right here. This is 4 amp charger. A lot of the electric bike chargers I see are just 2 amp, so this is faster. It's only 1.6 pounds. So again, 5.2 pounds for the battery, 1.6 pounds for the charger. Easy to toss into a backpack or something, especially with all that cargo capacity that you get on the Brühaul. So one of the big benefits of having a mid-drive system, aside from efficiency and balance, frame balance, is that the wheels can be quick release a lot easier. You don't have extra wires coming back to like a hub. So we do have quick release. Looks like a 10 millimeter skewer front and rear. So you could take those off to reduce the weight of the bike, or just the length if you wanted to. Love that all the wires and stuff are internally routed, so it kind of keeps the frame looking clean. These are hydraulic disc brakes, Shimano M355. 180 millimeter rotor up front, 160 in the rear. So yeah, I think that paints a pretty good picture of just what you're getting with this bike. All over with all the kind of the markings say like 6061, super light aluminum. It is aluminum alloy. We don't have a suspension fork up here, but again, that's nice that the tires are so oversized here. 2.35 gives you a little bit of cushion. And just the fact that they're both bigger like that, like we were talking about earlier. Okay, I think we're good, maybe ready. Oh, and I want to call out, before I was talking about all these mounting points, they do have a couple up here on the top tube, and then a couple more just extra ones on the fork. And I was reading the manual, and it says like that's so that you can mount like longer things and maybe front racks and stuff. This is a tapered head tube as well to be extra burly. So it's kind of neat. It just seems like there are a lot of different possibilities. And maybe this is compatible with some of the different like Yuba cargo rack type stuff. I can't say for sure. I haven't really dug into it too much, but there's so many possibilities here with all these different screws and stuff. And you can even take this rack off, which is unique in the world of cargo bikes. So that would reduce the weight even more and maybe allow you to do something custom back here if you wanted to. So you can see that the rack is really nicely painted and it does match. Almost looks like it's part of the main frame, but it's not. It's a separate thing. It does feel very sturdy. And there's, you know, not a whole lot of frame flex going on with this thing. So I feel like they've done a good job with geometry and maybe having that extra, almost like a seat tube. It's just like an extra strength bar right back there. So very cool. Okay, so the battery's on the bike. It's charged. The display panel is what allows you to control this whole thing. So we come up here and press power, but before we do that, I want to call out that it is removable. So if you have to park this outside for a while, you could take this in with you and people won't be able to tamper with it. Although there is a set screw down here. If you wanted to, you can kind of adjust that screw and make this a little bit more permanent. But I like that it's removable. Okay, so we come up here, we press power, comes to life. Hopefully you can see this all right. At the top, really large miles per hour, that's your speed. It can be adjusted. Then we have a battery level indicator with 5 dots, and then our pedal assist level. And that's really, those are the primary readouts that you care about. So you can change between assist level by going plus or minus here on the left. So if I go up from off to the lowest level, eco, it says, hey, we're estimating your range at 50 miles. That's pretty awesome. Arrow up again to tour, says, okay, 25 miles. So the more power the system gives you, the less far you're going to be able to go. All the way up to turbo, and that I would reserve that for like climbing hills and stuff, and it goes all the way down to 19 miles. So I'd say, you know, again, I think this battery is fairly full, but I'd estimate like 20 to 60 miles, depending on how you ride, the terrain, your weight, even the weather, like the wind and stuff. And these are, you know, they're decent tires, but you can drop the PSI a little bit, 30 to 65 PSI. I tend to ride a little bit lower just to give myself that cushion, that suspension that we were talking about, but that's going to impact your range. Okay, so some of the other readouts on this display we can get to by hitting I. So instead of seeing range, now we can see our odometer, trip distance, clock, max speed, average speed, trip time. So you get a lot of great readouts. This is backlit. You can see this little light button. So if we press that, we get a light indicator. And now our light works, our headlight and our tail light. So just really great that it's all integrated. You're not going to have to remember to turn this off separately or replace the batteries or anything. It's all integrated. It all runs off this main battery pack. And if that ever, you know, dies, or you drop it, or, you know, whatever the case may be, lose it, you can replace this pretty easily because Bosch has made so many of them. It's the same exact battery. It's not quite as integrated as if it was like built into the down tube, but that helps to save some money, I'm sure, on this bike, and it just makes it more modular. This isn't super cheap. Okay, so it's like $49.99. So we're talking about a $5,000 bike, but this is truly, you know, potentially a car replacement and just a way to get around really efficiently and quickly, save money on parking and stuff. I'm a big fan, and it's really comfortable, really versatile. So I think I might hop on this thing and get some ride shots, and we'll do it. Okay, so I'm in a lower gear. I'm in the highest level of assist. Just help me out. I'm kind of going up this bumpy dirt section, and I'm gonna shine the camera down there, and you can see how it performs. Just no problem. I mean, it's a breeze. I had no trouble at all climbing that, even with the bumps and stuff. It felt relatively smooth. This time, listen for when I pedal and see if you can hear it starting and stopping, because you can't see it because of that chain cover. It's just super fast. That's what I love about the Bosch system. So here we go. There's another hill. This whole neighborhood is really hilly. Go ahead and climb this thing. Maybe even steeper right here. Oh, having to put in a little bit more work. Still very doable. I'm not getting out of the saddle or anything. Yeah. Oh, and this one does have shift assist. See, that's the little arrow right there. It's telling me, go ahead and shift down. You can get a higher RPM and help the motor out a little bit more. How cool is that? Yeah, well, I'm continue to be impressed by the Bosch system. I like the Felt bikes, just the style and the fun, kind of the naming we talked about. For the full write-up on this and some of their other electric bikes and some other cargo bikes I've reviewed, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com. And of course, ride safe.